Welcome back, Divorced Dads of America, the Rebuild podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Thompson, and we are going to dig now. I want to tell you about a dad who jumped on our Ascent call, our free Monday call the past couple weeks. And this guy used to have this massive, amazing lifestyle, 6-bedroom house. His kids had everything, a yard, their own rooms, a life that looked like what a dad is supposed to provide, right? This pinnacle of dadhood and family life, and a life that looked, you know, like he was a dad that was providing. He was doing everything he needed to do. And now he's in a small apartment. His ex has the house. His kids have everything over there. But over here, where he's at, he's got four walls and a story he keeps telling himself that is destroying him from the inside out. And that story sounds like this: my kids are better off without me. I am the lesser option. I'm failing them. I don't have what I have. They don't like to be here. My place sucks. Literally what he said. My place sucks. My life sucks. I know that story, man. I lived it. I drove Lyft so that I could eat while my kids would eat, so that I could take them out for something even though I didn't have anything. I lived with my parents. I couldn't really get my kids anything. I took them out and I wouldn't order food for myself, so there was enough for them and I could pay my bills. I felt like life was absolutely over, like I couldn't see a way out. Today, this episode is for that dad on the call. It's for every single one of you who's ever felt like the lesser option. Because I want to tell you something that took me way too long to believe. You are not failing your kids. You are building the floor they will stand on for the rest of their lives. So I want to tell you something, guys. This is a nudge. You may be in that place. It's painful. Maybe you have a little bit more than a one bedroom, but it's not what you used to have, and you feel it, and life in your head, you're like that guy I was talking about. You just feel like your life sucks. You feel like everything sucks. And I want to walk through that path with you today. I want to just go on a walk, me and you, dude. So before we keep going, if this is starting to nudge you, if this is like, yo, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. These podcasts have helped you. Subscribe on Spotify, give a sub on Apple, leave a comment or review or question. That helps the algorithm find more dads like you. Get more dads, more help, that they can see some form of light. And you're like, man, I don't even see any light. We're going to walk through this. I'm going to show you what I did and what I walk other guys through to do this. A system, a formula, something to get out of your own head so you can get where you need to go. You can grow, not just for you, but for your kids. I believe that it's even beyond your kids, man. I believe you're a leader. I believe if you're listening this and you're going to own this, that you're going to be a leader. There's going to be dads that need to hear your story, and you're in the middle of it. And like I said before, it sucks. But I want to give you a couple things to think about with this guilt and this shame that this dad was having. I want to just put it on the table. Let's talk about this for a second so you can hear it. You can hear it out loud. You can hear somebody else talk about it. And so this dad on this Monday call, he's carrying something and it has a name. It's not weakness, it's not failure. It's called chronic guilt. And it's one of the most destructive forces in a divorced dad's rebuild. And I'm going to give you some research on this. And I know you guys are familiar with Dr. Brene Brown. I think she's got some great books. I recommend you just understanding guilt and shame. And I'm going to give you just the very quick synopsis of guilt and shame that's really helped me. Very, very helpful to understand the difference between both. And so when she did her research at Houston, she did a critical line she put between guilt and shame. And here it is. Guilt says, I did something bad. Shame says, I am bad. Guilt can motivate change, but shame will paralyze you. Most divorced dads are carrying, it's not guilt. They'll say it's guilt, but it's really shame. And shame doesn't make you a better father. It makes you less present, less capable, and less available to the kids who need you. There was another study done, and this is why it's important when you're operating at this low energy state. Many of you guys know that I talk about these energy levels and joy and peace being the top, and then it goes down from there. And guilt and shame, anxiety, fear, those things are low energy states. And here's what happens. A 2014 study on family psychology found that fathers who experience high levels of divorce-related shame reported significantly lower parenting quality and emotional availability than fathers who processed the experience through self-compassion frameworks. Shame doesn't make you show up harder for your kids. It makes you disappear. It makes you feel less valuable, right? Because I am bad is what shame is telling you. The apartment dad I mentioned here in the opening, he's not failing his kids because of his apartment. He's failing them if he lets the shame story become the only story he tells himself about who he is. It is identity. It is a identity crisis in a man that when you don't have, ego says, I am what I have, I am what I do, I am what other people think about me. I'm separated from others. And a lot of times I'm separated from God. That is the ego story. And ego is simply edging God out in your life. So here's what I told myself. I'm going to give you the meaning you attach is the problem. The meaning you attach is the problem. It's not the small apartment. It's not that you don't have the cars or the vacations. It's the meaning that we need to understand. It's the meaning that you attach. So when I told myself I was driving Lyft, living with my parents, I told myself life is over. I can't see a way out. My kids deserve better than this. I am a failure. I am a failure. That was a loop. Similar to the story I started with, I would say my life sucks. My job sucks. My cash flow sucks. And I was perpetuating these lines and these stories. Every single one of those things that I said, they felt true. They felt like facts. They felt real, man. And if I was talking to somebody, I'd be like, that's just the facts. I'm just stating the facts. They were meanings. The reality was that they were meanings that I was attaching to my circumstances. And the meanings were killing me. The apartment is neutral. The divorce is neutral. The custody schedule is neutral. And I know that sounds crazy when you're in it, but stick with me for a second because there's another guy that I recommend this book a lot in our group, in our school group and with clients, is Viktor Frankl. And if you haven't read his book, he was a psychiatrist, Holocaust survivor. His book's Man's Search for Meaning. And he documented that human beings can survive almost any circumstance if they can find meaning in it. His foundational research in logotherapy confirmed it is not the event that determines psychological outcome. It's the meaning assigned to the event. Two dads, same apartment, same custody schedule, same stack of bills. One assigns the meaning, I am the lesser option. I am failing. My life sucks. The other assigns the meaning, I am building the floor. I am in the furnace. I am not quitting. Those two dads have completely different futures, not because their circumstances are different, because the meaning is different. And I want to put that question to you. I know it's going to hurt. I know you don't want to hear this. What meaning are you assigning to your apartment or fill in the blank, your situation, your financial struggles, your mental battles, your co-parenting things? What meaning are you assigning to it? And I'm going to give you the framework that I call shorten the vision. We've got to shorten the vision, guys. Especially you're a leader. Many of you know vision. Many of you have these big dreams in your heart. But when you're sitting alone on the couch, there ain't nobody there. There's nothing on the walls. You look at that vision, you say, oh my God, how in the world am I going to get there? And that's what I was saying to myself. Man, I thought I was so close and now all this happened. There's no way I could get anywhere near that vision. And so I want to walk this with you. I want to give you something that I call shorten the vision. Because when you have the lavish style and the big house and the fully funded life, your 401k is awesome and you've got all this comfort, all of these cushions, all of these things, and now they're gone. And now you look at it and say, how can I get this back. I want to give you a couple really practical things for me because my vision had very big things on there, very big things around the world and going here and doing this with my kids and all of this stuff. But I had to cut the vision back to the smallest possible wins so that I could actually stack those wins. And I need you guys to understand this. Do we need a big giant vision? You better believe it. We need something that is going to pull us into the future and it's going to cause us to take the incredible amount of action that you need to take to get there. It's not just you're taking an elevator up and there's no stops. No, this is a climb. This is a tough road that you're going to be on. But before you get to this big vision, let's shorten the vision. So here's what it looked like for me. Sure, did I want to have, XYZ in my accounts and monthly revenue and all of those things? Yes, I wanted that. But here's number one. Here was the first one that I did. Pay off one credit card. That's it. Start to eliminate the debt, one little thing at a time. I tracked it. I celebrated it. It was a massive win. I literally can remember just going before the Lord and just saying, thank you that I could pay that thing off. The second thing that I had to go through for me on the financial front was paying my taxes. God almighty, I was so scared. I was so terrified. This weight, this debt, this laying on me. And getting into this big vision for my life started with being able to pay my taxes. You guys, oh wow, that doesn't seem like much. Guys, I want to give you some low-hanging fruit to stack wins. That might be for you, it could be paying off a credit card. It could be organizing your house. It could be setting a schedule, whatever that might be. My third win in this season of getting into those larger vision wins was that I was able to have some money left at the end of the month, any amount. Because when it's smaller, you've got to cut these things back. And there was things that had to get cut. There was things that I could no longer do, were no longer fitting in the budget. But I got to the point where there was a little bit money left at the end of the month. And that was a huge win. And let me just challenge some of these things for you guys is if you don't have a cash flow in, cash flow out system for your life, for your business guys, this, you are going to live in so much worry and so much fear and so much unknown simply because you don't have your money in order in an itemized list that says, this is what I'm making, this is my bills, this is what I have left over. And when you're in this season, it's very important to begin to set the boundaries and the standards so that your mind doesn't come in and torture you with what you don't have. When you know what you have, you know what's coming in, you know what's going out. Many of those fears and worries and frustrations are gone. Now, it's not probably what you used to have at the end of the month, but you have something at the end of the month to work off of. These were not glamorous wins for me, man. They were not impressive. It wasn't like I was, posting my dubs. It was personal wins for me. And many of you guys know that I talk about this, that you've got to, if you don't measure it, you can't manage it. If you're not measuring these wins, because you can go through and be like, oh man, I still don't have what I have. Yes, but look at where you were and look at the wins that have happened. Progress is happiness. If you can't measure progress, you can't measure happiness. That's why the guys that are one-on-one clients with me, we have progress markers and a progress pathway so that we can look, because sometimes you're not going to hit that huge goal right away, but you're going to step into it and you're going to look back and say, wow, I've got stronger bonds with my kids. I'm measuring that. My mindset is no longer, focused on these things. It's focused on this. I'm now able to have a little bit more cash flow at the end of the month. These are wins. These are measurements. This is management. This is happiness. These are the things that you need to look at. And here's a study, some of the data. Teresa Amabile and Stephen Kramer, Harvard business folks, they did a multi-year study on human motivation and performance, which I thought was interesting when I read this. Their findings published as the progress principle. And they confirm that the single most powerful motivator in human psychology is the perception of making progress. Let me say that again. The single most powerful motivator in human psychology is the perception of making progress. Not big wins, not landmark achievements, small, consistent forward movement. Progress is happiness. And that's not just a motivational poster. It's what Harvard research is showing you. So here's what I want you to do. Shorten your vision right now, not forever, just for the season. We need to chunk this thing up. Many of you guys have heard this idea of, how do you eat an elephant? Well, you eat it one bite at a time. You got to chunk this up. So think about the smallest measurable win that you can stack this week. Not this year, this week. Write it down, track it. And when you hit it, that is evidence you're building. And builders stack evidence. You need evidence to look at to go against the evidence in your mind that is telling you that you suck, you're a failure, nothing is going to work out. So what we're doing is we're building evidence. We're building a case for progress. That's what you need to understand. If this was in a jury and in a trial, you have all this evidence of failure that you're looking at. Now we have to proactively get our evidence of progress. If you don't get your evidence of progress, imagine you going to a courtroom, you have all this evidence of failure, but you have yet to track your evidence of progress, your case is going to be, you won't win. And that's what's happening in your mind. Your mind is looking at all the failures, all of the facts, right? All of the evidence of your failure. And it's saying, yep. But you have yet to track your progress. You have yet to bring evidence of movement, of progress. And so your mind is just simply looking at what you're doing and saying, yeah, there's more failure than there is this. I challenge you on that. I challenge all my clients. I challenge all my guys in the school group. Bring evidence that supports progress. That's why we create progress markers. That's why we do these things. It's not just because to hype you up and say, oh, look at a great job you're doing. You're literally creating new loops in your mind so your mind can look at the evidence and say, I am making progress. You don't have to keep doing what you're doing. You can start to do these things today. Here's what your kids are watching, because this is what we're doing this for, and I'm gonna close here shortly. Here's what you need to hear, right? For this apartment dad, or you don't have what you used to have, right? Your kids aren't watching the stuff. I'm just telling you, the kids aren't watching your stuff, bro. Right? Here's some data about what they're watching. All right. University of Maryland did a study tracking father involvement post-divorce. This is crazy. They found that the quality of a father's emotional presence, not his financial resources, was the primary predictor of children's psychological well-being and long-term outcomes after divorce. It wasn't the house. It wasn't the toys. It wasn't the neighborhood, guys. It was freaking you showing up, your presence, your stability, your willingness to be there. Your willingness to be there. It wasn't the stuff. And you know that. I had a dad recently tell me about how he was buying all of his kids all this stuff and doing all these things. And I said, well, what'd you learn? He goes, it didn't work. I said, you probably knew that already, but that's great. So what's working? What's working is he showed up. He sat down in the house on the floor and he just started coloring. He went for a walk when his child asked for a walk. He jumped in the pool and they asked to jump in a pool. He showed up. He didn't need to buy gifts. He didn't need to go on vacations. He just needed to be there with his kids. So that's what I'm asking you to do. That's what I'm asking you to do. The floor you're building right now in this season, in this apartment or in the lesser life that you now have, this is the foundation your kids will stand on for the rest of their lives. They will look back one day and say, my dad didn't quit, when it would have been easy to quit. And that will be worth more than every bedroom in the house. I'll close with this. Here's the difference between a builder and a drifter in the apartment or in a lesser life. A drifter looks at the four walls or the lesser life and he signs the meaning. I'm a lesser person. I'm a lesser option. I'm failing. And he lets that meaning run his life. He shows up to his kids distracted, ashamed, low energy, and he's already gone before he walks in the door. A builder looks at the same circumstances, the four walls and the lesser life, and assigns a different meaning. I am in the furnace. I am not quitting. I am building the floor my kids will stand on. And then he shortens the vision. He doesn't try to climb the whole mountain today. Pays off a credit card, pays his bills on time. He has $20 left at the end of the month. He calls that a win because it is a win. And he stacks the next one and the next one. And one day, not today, maybe not this month, but one day he looks back from across the river and he realizes the apartment was never the problem. The lesser life was never the problem. The meaning was the problem. And he changed the meaning, and that changed everything. So, which dad are you going to be, man? I already know which one you're capable of. I want to challenge you to let's build. Those of you guys that haven't subbed or left a comment or review, do that on Spotify or Apple. Again, it gets this thing out. It helps dads. And again, those of you that aren't in our school group, step one is get in. Just get in and do something. Don't just listen. Be men of action. Build with a band of brothers. Again, those of you guys that are in business, you're high level executives, you want to take this to the next step. You want to take this to the next level. You say, now is the time. I need to do something. I want you to apply now to work with me. Let's see this if this is a right fit. Let's see how fast we can get you there and how much you can grow and how much you can change and how much you can transform, because it's happening. Whether you apply or not, it's happening. Dads are jumping on. They're rebuilding their kids' life. They're rebuilding their life, their mindset. They're getting rid of habits. They're generating more cash flow they've ever generated before. Why? They got intentional. They changed the meaning. I love you guys. I pray for you every single week. I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless you.